General Shinseki has dedicated his life to our country, and we thank him for his service. His resignation, though, does not absolve the President of his responsibility to step in and make things right for our veterans. Business as usual cannot continue.
That was House Speaker John Boehner today reacting to the resignation of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, General Eric Shinseki. Joining me now with more, Republican Congressman Jeff Miller, who's chairman of the House VA Committee, and Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, who's a Fox News strategic analyst. Gentlemen, thanks both for being here. Mr. Chairman, let me start with you. It's a sad day to see General Shinseki go, but in the end, did it have to happen?
It did. He had lost the faith of the American people. And certainly the people that were the mid-level bureaucrats that were lying to him didn't feel like they had to tell him the truth. And so he had lost all of his effectiveness. And it was a sad day because this gentleman is a good American. All
the focus has been on him thus far, not as much on the commander-in-chief, but you could hear John Boehner there sort of redirecting to Mr. Shinseki's boss. Your thoughts on the president and his responsibility here?
The president took 3 weeks before he came out and actually acknowledged the gravity of the situation. We've had veterans that have died. They've known this for a number of years. I mean, they've already admitted 23 veterans died because they were waiting for care. And for the president to have gone forward with a lackadaisical attitude just showed another lack of leadership on his part. But again, I'm trying not to make this political. This is about the veterans and the people who have earned the benefit that they're supposed to get, and that is health care in a timely fashion.
Ralph, I know you've been an advocate of General Shinseki's, and this has got to be a sad moment for you as well, although he'll land on his feet and he'll be fine. But your thoughts on his departure and what it means for the president?
Well, Megan, it's not a sad moment for me. It's a sad moment for veterans. And you know, the American people have also lost faith in Congress. So by the chairman's logic, Congress should go too. Now, President Obama, when it comes to vets, as so often in so many spheres, he's said so many gracious and right things. But as with so many other spheres, he does nothing to execute it, does nothing to fix it. But I'm not just going to pick on the president on this, because Congress, and both parties in Congress, share more of the blame, or at least as much of the blame, if not more, because Congress is supposed to have the oversight of the VA, and they neglected it. Congress funds VA. Congress has increased the scope of responsibilities of VA without commensurate increases in funding. Congress oversees the civil service and refuses to reform it so we can fire the kind of people that transgressed against our veterans in Phoenix. Congress is responsible for the arcane procurement rules that prevent all agencies from getting agile information technology, and it goes on and on and on.
Well, that's the thing. If anything good is coming out of this, it'll be the reforms now, and the serious reforms, including making it easier to fire some people. Let me get you to respond to that, Chairman Miller, because I know in your specific case, you have been jumping up and down about this for years. But what about the charge that Congress should have done more here, and actually on a go-forward basis needs to do more?
Well, interestingly enough, the very GAO reports that a lot of people talk about were directed by Congress. We went to Secretary Shinseki and asked him, had he implemented the things that they had recommended? They told us yes. They lied to us about the numbers.
Shinseki?
So, yes, because his people were lying to him.
So he wasn't actively lying, but he was delivering bad information.
He was delivering information that people had given to him. And so the very reason that we're talking about this issue today is because of a hearing that we had in the House Committee on Veterans Affairs on April the 9th that actually broke this story. Dr. Foote called us when nobody else would listen to him, and we started listening and investigating and saw that there was a serious problem there, and we went about our business. And so, you know, Congress, everybody has probably some blame. If you want to blame me and that would solve it, go ahead and blame it all on me. But the truth is, the commander-in-chief, the man who put Secretary Shinseki in the job, does not understand the gravity of the situation that's out there today. People have told me that for decades we have tried to reform the Department of Veterans Affairs. We now have an opportunity to change it for the better. And I'm glad Ralph talks about my bill. that actually would give the secretary the authority to fire people that don't do their jobs. It's easier to get a bonus than to get fired at
Only
VA.
in this kind of bureaucracy do you need a bill, Ralph, that would allow Congress to do that. But does it in large part come down to that, to bureaucracy? Because they talked about today, the president said, what is absolutely clear is that the systems inside of the VA did not surface to the level where Shinseki was aware of it or able to see it.
Well, it's a problem that goes far beyond VA. Throughout the federal bureaucracy, the Pentagon experienced versions of the same thing with the civilian workforce. And the chairman's right. I mean, it's easy to give them bonuses. Very, almost impossible to fire bad actors. But Megan, for me, the bottom line is today we humiliated a really fine man to cover the political failings of the administration and members of Congress. And so let's see what happens. Let's see who replaces him on a permanent basis, or Shinseki on a permanent basis. And let's see if 2 or 3 years from now, Congress has stepped up to the plate and really done what it must do to fix these problems for our veterans, because I'm sure the chairman would agree, and he's already said, at the end of the day, it's not political. It's about those who served our country and suffered.
Amen. Before I go, Sloan Gibson, the incoming guy, Deputy VA Secretary, quickly. Good man?
Good man.
Have faith?
Came from the USO. He had the right attitude today when I talked to him, and if he carries that on, something's going to change.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Megan.